Welcome to Vocab Unit 2. We are going to look at, in this short recording, just a few of the words. You want to know the definitions for all of the words in the unit except for repine and motley. Our first word that we're looking at is disabuse. It's kind of a difficult word to use because it has nothing to do with abuse, even though it looks like that's exactly what it has to do with. So here's a sentence using it correctly. The new teacher quickly disabused the students of their belief that they could continue to use their phones during class. Put them in the bin when you enter, she insisted. So our verb, disabused, is an active verb, meaning the subject of the sentence, teacher, is actually doing the action of the verb. And what it means, as shown in this sentence, is to clarify something for someone. Someone has believed something to be true, and when you disabuse them of that belief, you set them straight. You clarify for them what exactly is true and how wrong they were. Our second word is libation. It has a very simple denotation, and that denotation is a drink. It is a noun. That T-I-O-N, remember in a word T-I-O-N indicates that you've got a noun. But there are lots of words for drink, so what do we need this one for? The connotation in your vocab book says that it's usually an alcoholic drink. That's true, but it doesn't have to be. It's really, the connotation is a drink in a fancy setting. So that's usually alcoholic, but it doesn't have to be, really. It could be water as long as the setting is one that's excessively fancy. So you, in a sentence, to use it correctly, you need to have some indication that that's what's going on. So in this sentence, the guests were served a variety of libations at the gala held at the Ritz-Carlton, from very expensive wine to sparkling water. So this part here gives us the sense that a libation can be really anything that you drink. The thing that makes it a libation is that it's being held at a gala, being held at the Ritz-Carlton. So the fanciness of the setting is what makes the word libation a complete term that's separate from any other word that might mean drink. Our third word is an adjective, docile. It's a quality of animals or people, so it has to be something alive. You can't have a docile inanimate object, or even a plant can't be docile. And it just means easily led or convinced. It comes from the Latin word docere, which means to lead. So somebody who is docile is somebody you can easily lead around. So looking back to some of our words from Unit 1, would a docile person demonstrate temerity? No, because temerity requires somebody to be brave in a foolish way, acting as if he or she knows how to do something when in fact he or she does not know how to do that. A docile person wouldn't behave that way. Would a docile person be likely to engage in coercion? No, because that requires a lot of force on a person's part, and a docile person is not going to be the one pushing other people around. Would a docile person accept rote learning methods? Yes. Someone who is easily led around would be accepting of any way of learning something, even if it was boring, even if it was habitual. They wouldn't be looking to do new things. Okay, here's a word you want to keep track of in terms of its pronunciation. The stress goes over here. It's anathema, so the stress is going to go here on that second syllable, anathema. And all anathema means, it's a noun, and it means something truly and deeply hated. So it can't be used for things that are just disliked or something that's annoying. You have to save anathema for a thing that you truly, deeply, profoundly hate. So here's a proper use of the word. Vegan Outreach finds the practice of factory farming to be a complete anathema. So Vegan Outreach, don't eat any meat whatsoever. Factory farming is all about raising animals to make money off of them, to selling them to eat. So that would be the absolute opposite of what these people believe. That would be anathema. Here's an incorrect use of it. Having to bring her own bags to the grocery store is just anathema to Marianne. This may be annoying, having to remember to bring your own bags, and you get in the store and you realize they're still in the car, but it's just not serious enough to merit a term like anathema. It's just too strong. So this sentence would have been written by somebody who knows that anathema generally means something unpleasant, but isn't aware of the connotation, which is that it has to be really deep hatred. Our fifth word is a French word, gauche. The etymology is French, and it comes from the French word that is pronounced exactly the same way. Gauche, don't say gouch. And in French, this word is just a regular modern word. It just means left, like your left hand, not the verb, but the adjective. So if you turn to the left, you're going to use the word gauche. In English, it means something different. It means awkward, but it means socially awkward. So we could say that its denotation is awkward, but the connotation is socially. So if you're awkward in any other way, you're not going to be gauche. It's got to be a social thing. So here's an incorrect version of it. Pierre is so gauche, he's always tripping over his own feet and dropping his books. Well, this stuff is awkward, tripping over his own feet and dropping his books, but it's not gauche because this is a physical kind of awkwardness, tripping and dropping, and not a socially kind of awkward. So here's the correct use of it. Pierre's proclivity, which means, again, a natural inclination for something, for gauche behavior, is most apparent in his habit of standing up at the wrong times during the rallies. Hope you're not doing that today. And shouting out no when the MC asks, do you want to win? So here's behavior that's just socially wrong. He's doing things at the wrong time and saying the wrong things. That's going to merit the word gauche. It's got to be social, not physical. And our final word here is another one to watch the pronunciation. The stress goes here. Ignominy. Even though it looks like it should be ignominy, which would be easier to say, and that's sort of the way it rolls out, it really does have the stress here on the first syllable, ignominy. Its denotation, it is a noun, and it means shame, but its connotation is really important. It has to be public shaming. So if you just have done something for which you should feel ashamed, and you do feel ashamed, but you never tell anybody what you did, then you're not able to have ignominy. It has to be known by other people. So how is the word being used incorrectly in this sentence? Maurice's ignominy was sealed once he noted down every detail of his role in scamming old people in his private journal. Well, he is doing something that merits shame, scamming old people, but it's not going to be ignominy because it's completely private. If he's noting down the details in his private journal and no one ever knows about it, then it's not going to be ignominy. It's got to be out there in the public eye for it to be ignominy. So stop the recording here for a second, read through these 5 sentences, and see if you can determine whether they are using the word incorrectly or correctly, and then start it back up again to get the answer. So here's number 1. Because he was generally so docile, we were very surprised by Alan's dogmatic attitude towards our choice for homecoming theme. So here's our first, just to review commas, we're putting our comma here because we have an opening dependent clause started by because. So this sentence is correct. Generally, the guy's docile, so when he became dogmatic, which would be the absolute opposite of docile, we were very surprised. So just because you have 2 words in the sentence that seem to be opposite doesn't mean that the sentence is going to be incorrect. You have to read the whole thing to be clear as to what the relationship is between the clauses. He is docile, so that's why we were surprised that he was dogmatic. Number 2, thanks for the libation. It's being used correctly as a noun here, but if Joanne hands him a paper cup of lemonade at the backyard picnic, it's not going to be a libation. Not because of the kind of thing they're drinking, but because of where they are. It's in a paper cup, they're at a backyard picnic, it's not fancy enough to be a libation. This sentence is going to be correct. The tour guide is going to disabuse people of something that seems likely to believe. One little extraneous item in the pack is not going to be a big deal, is it? And this guy is disabusing us of that notion if we want to scale Mount Everest. Number 4, with gauche. Gauchely, probably not really a word, although I guess you could technically make it a word. But here, the wedding gown is fitting physically awkwardly. The sleeves are too long, and the veil was only over her forehead. So physically, the thing is awkward, but that doesn't make it gauche. Gauche has to be socially awkward, something you're doing or saying or a way that you're acting that other people find socially odd. And our last one here is going to be using the word correctly. Ignominy, shame for crime, okay, but the thing that we have to have in this sentence to make it correct is some kind of public knowledge of it. So here's the part that's telling us that the word is being used correctly and taking account of its connotation. Newspapers, publishing thing, documenting his crimes out to the public. So everybody knows about it. If that's the case, then he can have ignominy. And remember to put your stress on the first syllable. So when we meet again, we'll be going over these words and the remaining words from vocab 2. So we'll see you then.